Hi, welcome back to Animated Chaos. I'm your host, Chai.
And I'm also your host, Kyle.
So today we're going to be basically talking about some animes that we've been watching and we've heard of. The one that I'm watching right now is called Wistoria. And it's basically about a character named Will. He was an orphan, but he has absolutely no magical ability in a world that's magic rules everything. Now, with that being the case, it gave me very Mashle vibes. Because with Mashle, it was the same thing. He was very strong, but he had no magic. And it's very funny. I really love Mashle. If you haven't watched it, you should watch it. Have you watched it?
I have not.
You should watch it. We were just talking about the Pawnee Pony or something.
Yeah.
So same principle. It's really, really good. I think you would enjoy it since you like that type of anime. I think you'll enjoy it. But this one gives off basically the same vibes of that one. Mm-hmm. And it also gives you Harry Potter. In my opinion, I will say it's my opinion, that it gives me Harry Potter vibes. Like the very first episode, you have what? Professor Edwards?
Yeah.
That's just like a young Snape, a hater.
Honestly, I got it too. After she suggested I did watch it. And mind you, at the current time of this recording, it's only about 4 episodes in at this time. So it is really brand new in terms of the anime. So it's not got a lot for us to really go off of in terms of story right now. So all we can really do is just compare characters and get a rough idea of how things are and how things feel. Which,
I know some people are like, don't compare. Why not compare? If it's something that's really good, like Harry Potter is good to me. I'm not a pothead. I'm not that far into it.
I do enjoy it, though.
But I enjoy it for what it is. And it's really good. So Mashle is another good one. It's funny. It's kind of one of those satires. You're just kind of like, why are we all of a sudden you're eating a cream puff? So it's like, it's one of those. But this one's more of the serious side. I think for you, if you watch them, you would compare it to that. Say, oh, I see the vibes of that. Mm-hmm. But this is the more serious side of what Mashle could have been. The headmaster does not give Dumbledore vibes, but it is a female headmistress. And this is Cauldron, which is funny because she has a cauldron in the back. Did you notice that? Mm-hmm. When you watch, she has a giant cauldron behind her. And then you have the character, is it Scion?
Depends on whether you're watching the English version or the Japanese version, how it gets pronounced.
That's true. I'm watching the Japanese version.
And I'm watching the English version.
Okay. So. All right. So that's why. Well, there you go. Pronunciations for both sides. He's giving me very Draco Malfoy vibes, just with red hair.
And he's even got two little lackeys with him.
The 2 cronies in the back, yeah. So the difference is they're slim and not thick. So.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
You know what? If they did do that and make them fat for some reason, just for like a split second, then we'll know where they pulled some of their...
Honestly, I could see it happening.
Yeah, we'll know where they pulled some of their inspiration from. But he gave very much Draco Malfoy, and then he got humbled like Draco Malfoy did in what?
Episode 2 or 3?
It was episode 1 that Sion got humbled, but with Draco Malfoy, it was the 6th or 7th one?
Oh, yeah.
When he finally was like, okay, maybe I don't want to do this, and, it was a little too late for that.
And just bear in mind, I've never read any of the Harry Potter books, and I think you have, but it's been a long time.
To be honest with you, I own the entire Harry Potter collection, but I only read 2 books, which is the last one, and I think the second book. Because by then, I'd already watched the movie, so I was like, I don't really want to, Mm-hmm. So I like to read a book before watching a movie. Because if I watch the movie first and I read the book, I'm just like, I'm going to pick it apart regardless. I'm going to pick it apart. But I like to read the book to kind of see what was taken out, which we can get on that topic in a little bit about what was taken out and what was added.
Absolutely.
And not just that.
We can do that with the Lord of the Rings series, because I can tell you right now, I've watched the movies before I ever read the books. I'm reading the books now. And there is a lot of information that they obviously did not include in the movies that are definitively in the books, in part to save time, because otherwise every single movie would be something like 6 hours plus long. And 3 hours is a long time for a movie in its own right.
Yeah, but the fact that it can hold your attention for 3 hours, because it held mine.
True.
I took off work one day. It was me and 3 other coworkers. We took off work and spent the entire day in the theater when the latest Hobbit one came out.
Oh,
they showed all the Hobbit ones plus then the newer one, the prequel, I guess, to them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were there from 12 a.m. to 12 p.m.
That would be a lot of fun, although your butt would hurt.
Well, there was intermissions between the movies. Once one movie stopped. Yeah, when one movie stopped, you get up, do what you need to do, and then you came back for the next movie.
At least, if nothing else, the movie theater seats are very nicely cushioned. So it's good for your booty.
Yeah, depending on which one you're in. We were in the
True.
big IMAX one with the curtains and
Which
everything.
is going to have the most comfortable seating ever.
Yeah, so luckily, and it was packed in there. But it's one of those, but again, it goes back to one of those. With Harry Potter and the books, you're going to find some stuff that's different, especially character-wise. I like to watch people who argue back and forth and be like, Hermione wasn't supposed to look like this, and Harry Potter was supposed to look like this. Well, it's kind of hard without prosthetics and a bunch of CGI.
Isn't that the truth? And considering those movies started out in the early 2000s, CGI was not going to be a good thing for that.
It was going to look very choppy, like some stuff that if you go back and look at it, it is very choppy.
I don't know if you've ever seen like an older series on a more modern television or not, because it was not formatted for a certain size screen because that didn't exist at the time. You'll notice as it does panning shots that it sits there and it just jumps the entire time. And it's something you just kind of have to get over.
But you'll think that it's probably your TV, but it's really just the filming?
It's the older setup. Like I was watching another series the other day and it came from the early to mid 2000s. And on my TV, it's too big for what that series was formatted for at the time, because it was formatted for a screen in the mid 2000s. So that, and just trying to transition a series over from an older type of digital to a newer type of digital is going to cost those breaks. You just kind of have to get over it.
Mm-hmm. So. Filming has come a long way, especially with anime. Because I tried to look at some old anime recently, and I was like, I can't do it.
I love a good old anime.
That's the thing about this one, though, is the animation to me is really beautiful in Wistoria. It's really pretty. It's really well done. And I've said this before, with animes that try to, in my opinion, make it look like a video game, they just don't look right to me.
Yeah.
It looks weird to me. Now, if you do it consistently through the whole thing, that's fine, which is what they do. To me, I don't know if, now it just looks like it's, an RPG type set, like how their movements are. That could just be me. That could not have been what they've done, but it just looked like to me. But they've done it throughout the entire thing. That it doesn't bother me. Like, it doesn't bother me that you have some of those kind of like robotic type movements in this one, because it's fluid throughout the entire thing and it's done so well. Whereas I'm watching another one where it's animated style and then it looks like it's a video game style. And it's at weird intervals when it happens. Like, the character could be walking fine, next thing you know, we're in this weird like simulation type thing, and I'm just like, that was a choice.
Or if you've ever seen it where basically, I think kind of what you're referring to, and I think this relates in the same way, is when a series will switch over from a 2D art style to a very obvious kind of 3D looking art style that's trying to emulate 2D because they couldn't really be bothered to, I guess that's kind of the wrong word. They found it easier, but maybe they couldn't be bothered to animate, like, let's say, a dragon flying and shooting fire, for example, in 2D, whereas with 3D, they could model it, they could have it do its whole thing, and then it'll switch back and forth. And of course, you can usually tell with that. Like, I think Fairy Tail did that at least a couple of times in the latter half of its franchise time frame.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't finish Fairy Tail, so.
And I love it.
I don't get me wrong, I love Fairy Tail. Like, what was her name? Urza? That was my character. Every time we got together, we all watched it. We each had our own characters that we said that was us. I stopped watching it because it got spoiled too much for me. It's fine to tell me a little bit about a show, but if you tell me too much of what's happening, especially if it's an active anime that I'm watching, I lose interest. I lose interest, and I lost interest because a friend of mine, she just kept telling me way too much of what was happening. And again, it was like I shot myself in the foot because I did it to myself because I kept asking her instead of telling her to stop. And then it got to the point she got so used to just telling me about it, to the point I was just like, if I tell her to stop now, it'll seem rude.
But in all due fairness, she is a friend of ours that she gets very, very excited.
Which it was great though, because all of us, even our friend Sarah, she don't watch anime. I got her into it. Like, we were all collectively anime watchers and non-anime watchers, just sitting there watching Fairy Tale. It was great.
Side note. Didn't Sarah like absolutely fall in love with Psychopaths though?
She did. I think she liked
Yeah.
Psychopaths. She did like Psychopaths. So like I did get her into anime for a little bit. I don't know if she still watches it.
Probably not. Although with
she's
her
still in
husband,
K-drama.
maybe.
She's still into K-dramas though. So I still got that going for myself. She still watch Asian dramas. And she blames it like, you got me into this. You're welcome.
You're welcome. This is all my fault and I accept the blame.
You're welcome. Now we have something to talk about because this is literally all I watch all the time. But no, if you haven't watched Wistoria, I would honestly recommend it. It's a really good story. His main goal is to get to the top of the tower so he can see a sunset with the girl that he loved that he saw when they were kids. They were both orphans, but she was basically a genius in her own right. And so she's already in the tower kind of like looking down and waiting for him. Mm-hmm. And she's sly with it because you notice, and like I said, there's only 4 episodes in.
But in episode 3 specifically, she was telling their watcher about him, and they all voted like, who would we want up here? And of course she stays silent because again, it's her man. She doesn't want nobody to know that she's, rooting for the talentless one to come up into the tower. Mm-hmm. But she's secretly just like, no, he's the one that we need up here. He's the 5th person we need because all hell's about to break loose relatively quickly, and we're not prepared for it because how their world is, it's like it's a world hidden within another world because they tell you that it's really dark, and then basically like celestials basically ruled over them, and then you had like the 5 mages that defended them and basically just put them in like this dome. It's kind of like the invisibility cloak. Like it's literally just a giant invisibility cloak over their town, and where it's always, I guess, sunny. Like, I mean, they have their night and days, but you don't really see like a genuine true sunset because their world is secretly still hidden. We don't even know if they even get like significant weather patterns or anything. I
know, because again, we know it gets dark. We saw that in episode 1. Mm-hmm. But like, does it get bad weather or is it just good weather all the time? And we didn't know that they were still stuck in a dome until what, episode 2? Was it episode 2 or 3 when he brought that up and said that we're technically still hidden?
I think it was episode 2 because episode 3 was when that watcher.
Oh yeah, when they went to the dome. Yeah,
and I am glad that they didn't sit there and draw that out for like 10 episodes and be like, okay, so she's totally undercover. She's undercover, but they're never going to reveal it right away to the audience. No, they were actually like, you know what? Here at the end of the episode, let's just get this dead bush beaten out of the way because we don't want to deal with this. And
I enjoyed
revealed that, and I think that was the smart, correct move. There is something about maintaining some level of secrecy, but when it's too obvious, which far too often it's all too obvious, it's definitely better to go ahead and just get that out of the way right now. Beat that trope before it finally just becomes a problem. And that doesn't mean necessarily that this now undercover character isn't possibly going to be a villain of some kind. She very well could be, or she could very well be the most dependable ally coming up. We don't know yet.
Which, I mean, they kind of did show at the end, though, because before they showed the ending credit, you would think that she was a villain. Because my reaction was like, oh, something's up, because her whole demeanor changed, her voice changed. I was like, oh, she's an op. And then when you see her go to the mages and talking to them, and you're just like, okay, where is this going? But then she's technically on, what's her name, Althea?
I don't remember.
I think it's something like that. The white-haired one, his love interest. She's mostly on her side, which means she's technically a good person because she goes, oh, he's everything that you told me about him, and da-da-da-da-da. So I think that she's good because she's technically, she's a watcher for all of them up there, but she's more on her side than anyone else. And plus, this girl, she done created, 12 new spells?
Yeah,
so, like,
12 or 13, something
like that. No, it was 12. It was 12 spells. She just did her, I think her last one was 12 spells. You only need to do one spell, create your own, like one new spell to get to the tower.
Send the tower to the top.
Yeah, or, you got enough points to go to the next level. It's like going to high school to college.
Yep.
It's basically what that is.
Yep. You have to literally earn, basically, college credits, but you have to earn, what is it, 72,000 of them?
Yeah, something like that. Right? So it's basically like they're in high school right now and they're getting ready to go to college or trying to go to college. But we do, at least I like the fact that our main character, Will, he do have some people in his corner. It may be a small corner, but he got them in there. Like the one girl that she's in love with him, which I really hope she finds somebody else because I need him to stay focused. We're for Elfie. If I'm saying her name wrong, forgive me. But we're for her. We'll put a picture up.
It's a brand new show.
Althea? Something like that. He calls her Elfie, I think.
It's probably something very ethereal like that. And honestly, is anyone really going to get that mad? It's a brand new show.
Yeah, it's brand new. You can't be that simping for it unless you're a manga reader. Was it a manga beforehand?
Oh, it's definitely been a manga beforehand.
So unless you're a manga
everything's
reader,
been a manga beforehand. There's only ever been a very small handful of anime that have ever actually been an anime before they ever got a manga.
Oh, sure.
That's very rare that it goes the other direction.
Manga readers may have an issue with the pronunciation. I am sorry. Like I said, there's only 3 episodes in. I ain't that deep and the characters that hard.
Frankly, between the subs and the dub people, there's going to be different viewpoints.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. If we ever get to a point to where people start chewing us out for it, it is what it is. I mean, no, I will try. I try to get the voices, the names correctly. Especially these are very, I don't want to say American, European, which is a theme they've been going for a lot.
Yeah, because it was so odd. I was like, his name is Will. This name is Edward, and then what was it? Workner. Yeah. So I was like, what's it? These
are very European. Yeah. But that's been a common theme here lately with a lot of Japanese anime. They've been really, I think, delving deep into this love and or appreciation for the European Western side of things, which makes sense, honestly, when you consider how much we Westerners have a fascination for things on the East. Equal fascination is going to be there for the Easterners for things in the West. So that's perfectly logical, really. Yeah,
just to some extent, yeah. It just depends on the world's changing. Generations are a little different. Some of them are a little bit more open-minded to it. Mm-hmm. But at the moment, because like I said, it's only 3 episodes in, which for me, to get me to watch an anime, the first episode I'll watch and give it a chance if I'm not immediately sold. By the second episode, it's got to sell me. It's got to sell me. Because some shows, if the first episode I'm already kind of... And then I go ahead and watch a second one and I back out because I've done that already with one anime. Mm-hmm. The first episode, right off the rip, I was just like, okay, let me see the second episode and see. And by the second one, I was like, no. And I completely scrapped it. I don't even remember the name of it. And it's a brand new one that just came out around the same time that Wistoria came out. And I just scrapped the whole thing because I was like, I can't do this.
Now, let me voice my concerns about Wistoria here just a little bit. I am concerned that it's going to go farther down a very generic route than I care for. Like, I don't think it's going to ultimately stand out as much as I might like it to.
In what regard?
Story-wise. I think story-wise, it's going to kind of follow a lot of the more generic paths that we already see in a lot of other anime, and it's not going to necessarily do anything particularly special and be highly memorable, but we'll see. I mean, it could actually turn out to be something incredible. Right now, it's really working on its character development,
which is it's nice.
It is,
and they're doing it in a way that doesn't feel drawn out, which is what I like, because we're introducing to characters that, like each episode, we're kind of introducing to a little bit more characters, even if they're kind of side characters. But it's done in a way where it's not drawn out. We don't have to have this big long arc to figure out who these people are, and like I said, at the moment it could change because like right now I'm comparing it to like I said, there's Harry Potter-esque type characteristics in some characters, and Mashle, since we just finished that one and I cannot wait for the next season. It's giving very much that because it's a magicless person got some unnatural strength and in a world where magic rules everything. So all of those things is what we just saw in Mashle. And we're still learning about him because we're just like, wait, you connected to the villain? What's happened here? The only difference is right off the rip, everyone knew that Will didn't have any magic. I mean, he didn't know until I guess they tested them or something. But it's still kind of one of those, you're going to compare it to something that you've already seen until it basically becomes its own. And right now, it's still getting to that point. I personally, at the moment, I enjoy it. I love the storyline. I love the artwork on it and their take on how all the characters are developing and how he's handling things. Because they're like, oh, he's so nice. He's so sweet. And his main thing is like, you say that I'm nice and I'm sweet, but really, I just want to get to my girl. I just want to be on the same playing field as her. I just want to stand up next to her. I want to be worthy of her. Everyone keeps saying I'm this nice person and I'm so sweet, but really, I'm doing all this for one specific reason. Is to get to the person that I want to be with. We made a promise, and I want to keep that promise.
I do like that he has a focus goal.
Yeah, because I loved it when he was thinking about, spoiler if you haven't watched it, I loved it when he was thinking about abandoning that one guy. Like, that was such a me thing. I was like, leave him. And then he was like, do I have
leave
to
your
save
boy?
I was like, do I have to save him? And I was like, no. And he goes, because he's always bullying me. You right. Like, I would have been the devil on his shoulder in that instance. Like, you're right. You don't got to get him.
Didn't even the familiar kind of say you can just leave him? Like,
no.
Not in so many words?
No. The familiar doesn't really talk at the moment.
No. Not actually, like,
the familiar was just standing there looking at him. Like, she wasn't trying to, I'm assuming it's a she. If it's a male, I'm sorry. Like I said, it's only 3 episodes in. But, well, the name's Kiki. So, yeah, no.
Automatic exception would be.
Automatically it's a girl. It's Kiki. The name's Kiki. But, no, the cat just looked at him just like, do whatever you want to do.
Happy named Kylo Ren. And Tiki is the short for it.
And with that, we're 4 episodes in, and we will probably do another update on it the further along it goes, just to kind of get a synopsis and see if our opinions on it change. If it holds, I'm hoping it does. I'm hoping it does. At the moment, it has. It's kind of the same thing with Solo Leveling, which is a whole other thing that we could talk about at a different time. It held my interest through it.
But now let's just take a second before we just call this. Let's take a second and actually point out the comparisons. Like Professor Edward, very Snape.
Very Snape.
Will is definitely just very Harry Potter.
You the glasses really and everything.
Including that little hoagie, whatever.
The cowlick thing that's just kind of...
Yeah. And honestly, you kind of get that vibe from Harry Potter. Just the hairstyle alone was there.
The glasses what got me.
Yeah. And now there has yet to really be a standout Hermione or Ron type of character yet, although that girl...
The girl that his love interest is more like a Jenny.
Yeah.
It gives kind of Jenny vibes, but...
Kinda.
Like I said, I really hope that she finds another love interest, because he likes her. He likes you, girl, as his friend, his dear, loving best friend.
Yeah.
But he doesn't like you like that. So I'm really hoping she gets a love interest. That she actually reciprocates. We don't need that. We don't need the whole thing that happened in Mashle when you had the redhead liking the blonde and the blonde just liked Mashle, and he just kept getting rejected. We don't, but they did it in such a funny haha way. It's sad, but it's not taken too serious. Like I said, this anime is a little bit more serious. So I'm really hoping that either the redhead character was Sion. He gets his life together, which he kind of happened a little bit. Like I said, he got his coming to Jesus moment, but he's still a hater. Yeah,
even at the end of the episode, he was still not friendly.
No, he was still mad at me. You're talentless. Here's my thing, and we can end it on this as well. You have all the power. You have all the privilege. You have all the prestige, and you're hating on an orphan that has no magic ability, but he's just hella strong.
Yep.
And you mad because you kept throwing all those little fireballs at that giant monster, and he came and sliced and diced it up.
Yep.
And
mind you, that the way that these monsters work is they're accredited an amount of credits in accordance to when or how you defeat them. So that particular monster was on a level it shouldn't have been on somehow, and was worth something like 10 credits.
Yeah, he was going there to fight a 4 credit monster, and ended up fighting a 10 credit monster
and
by
still
accident.
Destroyed it.
I think Faulkner knew about it. I think he knew.
Absolutely.
I think he knew that was a 10 level credit monster, but didn't tell him it was a 10 level credit monster to get him there.
Knew.
I don't think the headmistress.
She's the one who had the white-haired teacher. I guess that's Faulkner.
Mm-hmm.
Watch and say you cannot interfere.
That was what
she definitely knew something was up.
But she knew the interfering thing was with the test between him and Edward.
True.
Yeah, no. That's what I said. I don't think the headmistress I don't think knew about that. Faulkner knew. I feel like he knew that monster was not a 4 credit but a 10 credit.
Yeah, that's
right.
Because
the whole time when Professor Edward showed up and said, Sion and his cronies authorizedly went into the dungeons, he got scared at first. He was like, oh crap, why are they down there? And then he goes, oh wait, what level they're on? Oh, they're fine. Will's down there.
Literally, it's just, you know what? Never mind.
Yeah.
They're going to be fine because Will's down there. Now let me just show you how badass Will is at this moment in time.
And because
he literally had that Edwards guy watch through that crystal ball.
On Kiki. Because Kiki has the thing in her forehead. So, and he still came out being a hater. Moral of the story is, listen, eat your sour lemons, I guess. That's on you. But if the evidence and the proof is in the pudding right there in your face and you still hate, and there's no hope for you unless something dire and detrimental happens to you. Because even still, I feel like Professor Edwards cheated, because even when he did his little test for just giving him 5 credits, you didn't let him get a sword. You saw him battle in that dungeon with a sword. He wasn't barehanded.
Right.
He had a sword. And you told him you were going to give him a test on magic without a sword. You just wanted to beat him up and possibly kill this kid. You didn't give him a fighting chance. You didn't give him an even playing field at all, which again, it's not even even because again, you do magic. You were almost able to ascend to be the 5th, or at least one of those top mages. So even still, it wasn't a fair fighting chance anyway. You took him in there, into that room, to just kill the kid because you didn't give him a sword. You didn't give him a fighting chance. You just said, oh, we're doing the test now. Okay. A fair test? That wasn't fair at all, because one, you could do magic, so already you have an advantage over him. And then you didn't let him get a sword so he can at least put up a fighting chance. Oh, you're trying to kick in my barrier. Yeah, because that's all he had was his body. And so, yeah. And then I still like, yes, he did finally get a hit on him. But, and this also teaches you how history is so twisted. Because at the time they were talking about, the dwarves fighting the wizards. And how he was saying, you're basically, the dwarf.
It was the dwarves versus the elves, I remember.
No, it was the wizards. It was mages. The mages. It was dwarves versus the mages. It was like 10,000 or something dwarves that went against the mages. And it only took one mage. Was it dwarves versus... Or did they,
I think the mages were derived from elves, if I remember correctly. Which would bring in Lord of the Rings type logic.
Yeah, I don't remember. But yeah, that's give kind of Lord of the Rings if that is the case. I don't remember. I just remember that they were fighting somebody and it only took one. I feel like it's still mages. It was that dwarves versus wizards. Yeah. And they brought one mage out and wiped out everybody. And that was his going point and his seller. And then Will came around and said, yeah, that's true, but you're still missing that one thing. You still have that one dwarf that still got to put one hit on them. And he earned his respect. So see how history is twisted and convoluted, and it twists to your beliefs, kind of like people be doing with something else. And I'm not going to mention it because we're not trying to get into politics. But it's one of those. It's you said, oh, we're the best, and you completely disregarded the part where that mage who gave respect where it was due. Like, oh, you got a hit on me. I don't know if they killed him. I think it's implied.
I don't remember.
But still, he earned his respect, and that's the same thing that's happening here. Will is having to earn these high and mighty mages' respect. The old-fashioned way. He's got the respect of some of them, but you got people like Edward and him that just don't want to give credit where credit is due. But again, I've only seen up to the 3rd episode. The 4th one has been released already, so I need to go ahead and watch that one. So who knows? Maybe Professor Edward will have a come to Jesus moment. Maybe. We don't know.
You know that they're going to definitely reveal their cards on whether or not part of this was inspired by Harry Potter. If Edwards dies in a fashion akin to or similar in some regard to the way Snape died in the Harry Potter franchise.
That's true. I hope he doesn't, though. I do want him to have that come to Jesus moment, but still kind of be a secret hater, but kind of like a Sundara type of hater. Like I still I respect you enough, but don't get comfortable.
Or kind of a case like, so I respect you, but we're going to maintain the same exact sort of...
Keep that energy
as we have now. I don't want it to suddenly look like I've just completely changed sort of thing. It's like, I got to keep my credit somehow.
I still have my status quo. I still have my beliefs, but I'm not going to be trying to sabotage you and embarrass you in front of your peers.
Murder you.
Yeah, he was secretly trying to kill him. I don't care.
Absolutely, he was trying to kill him.
Yeah, like the episode 1, he purposely called the boy up there knowing he couldn't do magic just to humiliate him. But like I said, we will end it on that. I personally, at the moment, enjoy the anime. Hopefully it continues to do well. And we will probably do a recap a couple more episodes in just to kind of see how we still feel about it.
I'd say we should probably give it closer to like its end of the season time period, which will probably be about 12 episodes in, because most of them are around 12 to 13 episodes usually these days.
Yeah, so when it gets time to wrap it up, we'll probably come back and do just like a recap and see if we still feel the same way as we did with this one.
If it held our interest.
If it held our interest. I'm hoping it does, but I'm really much the type of, I bounce around from anime so much.
Me too.
And then I forget, and I watch what I'm in the mood to watch.
Yep,
let me put it that
very
way.
Much so.
So I'm trying to get better at that, especially with trying to do like commentaries about stuff that we're watching. But I'm very much I watch what I feel like watching at the time, and if I'm done watching this, I give it a break.
Yep, that's true.
So
my focus has actually been completely not on anime. I've been watching Ed, Edd, and Eddy for the last couple weeks because I felt like watching Ed, Edd, and Eddy, which we will be talking about in the future because I love it. I love it, love it, love it.
Ed, Edd, and Eddy. I haven't watched that in forever. Which we can talk about it yet, because I have some more on that as well.
We'll be talking about it. I have plans for this series when it comes to Ed, Edd, and Eddy.
Well, on that, we will cut this episode short. Short. Yeah. And until then, this is Shy.
This is Kyle.
Be sure to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell every time that we upload a new video, and we hope to see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.